Why are you so obsessed with me? All I wanna know. Why, huh? Why are you obsessed? Not necessarily with me, but why are you obsessed, huh? Stop that. No, seriously. So, in this video, guys, we're going to discuss obsession, okay? And I'm gonna tell you why you obsess, okay? Obsess over relationships, obsess over, you know, things that you need to do or need to get done. Obsess over, individuals, obsess over money, obsess over love. Okay, in this video we'll discuss this and you'll understand a little bit more about why you're doing that. And I will tell you why it's really not that good that you're doing it. I'll tell you why, it's best not to obsess, okay, and to just let go. Because you guys have to remember, okay, anything that we chase, um, we tend to repel. And so it is never a good idea to obsess about anything, an outcome, obsessing over an outcome can, really disappoint you, right? If you obsess over, for example, getting a job, right? That means you over-attached yourself to something that's unstable or uncertain. You attach to something that's a maybe, and you don't want to do that because when you don't receive that particular opportunity, then it's going to really, really pull you down. It's gonna drain your energy. Well, first of all, obsession drains your energy, okay? And so, but attaching to a certain outcome and then getting disappointed or hearing a no is going to disappoint you, and it's going to also, put you in a bad state of mind, and you don't want to do that before it's to before it's time, right? So you don't want to attach something that you don't want to attach yourself to something that you're not sure about. Anyways, guys, so let's discuss obsession, okay? So why do we obsess? Okay, and so I'm going to discuss a couple of points on why we get obsessed. Okay, basically, it's one point, right? Is we obsess because we want to solve a perceived threat. Okay, so an example, right? Replaying an interview, worrying about a mistake. Okay, so your brain thinks, if I analyze this enough, I can prevent the danger. Okay, so another reason on why we obsess is just to regain control, right? When life is unstable, when it's unpredictable, our brain wants to grab onto something that we kind of want to control, right? Even if it hurts. Okay, then the third reason is to avoid uncomfortable emotions. Okay, so obsessing about a topic can distract from deeper feelings like grief, loneliness, or feel of failure. Okay, and then last but not least, right, it's just to protect our identity basically. Okay, so if something challenges our sense of worth, like a bad interview, the brain loops in defense. Okay, what if I'm not good enough? What went wrong? Okay, like for example, guys, I will give you an example of this. Okay, I just recently had a bad interview. Okay, and I knew it was bad. I knew it wasn't going to be I wasn't going to get a good outcome, and because I knew that my answers were terrible, and there was an interview with an AI, right? And when I answered, I was like, uh, I I was like, can I change the answer? That's what I was thinking to myself. I was like, that was the dumbest response ever. Like, I wish I could change that, but I can't, right? You just get one shot. But anyways, let's just say that I wasn't really prepared for this interview. I didn't take it as seriously, and also I took it at the wrong time. Timing is everything, right? And you want to be fresh. You want to take it first thing in the morning, maybe, right? And then I took another interview, right, with another company, and I passed it with flying colors. It was a test, right, and I did great. So and that's because there was a huge difference, right? I took one test in the evening, okay, when I was exhausted after teaching, and my brain just wasn't braining, basically, right? And so I, it was the wrong time, and I could have started obsessing over it, right? Out of fear, out of just trying to, um, you know, out of control, right, and fear, and just trying to kind of kind of not prevent the situation from happening again, but just out of also but by trying to avoid like dealing with negative emotions, right, that I was feeling. And I chose not to get obsessed over it. I chose to kind of let it go. And I was like, yeah, I knew I failed this test, and that's okay. And I didn't. My mind did go for a moment. It did go and think, okay, you're not intelligent enough, right? And I was like, wait a minute, don't go there. Your brain naturally doesn't perform well when you're exhausted. Okay, it shuts down, like literally. Okay, and so you and so understanding this also kind of gives grace, right, to the situation and to what happened. And so through understanding, we can learn not to be so hard on ourselves. So yeah, I failed the first interview, but then I passed the test. So because, like I said, timing was completely different. The test was taken fresh thing in the morning, when I had enough sleep, when I was feeling refreshed, when my brain was clear, right, and I was thinking clearly, and I was able to think and to take my time and to solve problems and so on, right? So everything was worked out really well. But yeah, so anyways, let's get back to like what obsession does to us, okay, guys? And there are many things that happens when we obsess, okay? So it traps us in a threat mode, okay? That's the first thing. It activates stress hormones like cortisol, okay? And of course, that prevents us from kind of thinking clearly, right? um, it keeps our nervous system in a fight or flight mode, and we basically, our nervous system shuts down, okay? And when our nervous system is shut down, uh, we're uh, we're unable to attract, okay? We're in a state of contraction instead of attraction, right? So ladies or gentlemen, actually, okay, if you want for a woman, if you want for a woman to be receptive to you, right, uh, and if you want her in her feminine energy, um, then you want to relax her nervous system. If you can relax her nervous system, then she's going to open up, okay? If you can make her feel safe, if you can make her feel relaxed, then her nervous system is going to relax, and uh, she's going to be receptive almost automatically, okay? And she's going to step into kind of or slide into her feminine energy, right? And so you want to just keep this in mind, right? But anyway, so let's get back to the points, right? So it makes thinking foggy and emotional regulation harder, okay? Steals presence and joy, right? And then exaggerates negatives and blocks perspective, okay? And so yeah, you basically, you're going to hear a lot of negative thoughts when you obsess, right? Mm, like when you're tired and like disappointed, right? It might turn into, you having a lot of negative thoughts that aren't true, okay? And so, um, that's just your brain under stress, basically, right? And also, when you're exhausted, the obsession gets louder, okay? So low energy equals less emotional shield, right? So you're more prone to ruminating. um, so when your system is tired, right, and stressed out, you become more vulnerable, and that's when the looping starts, okay, or the obsession. But anyways, guys, so obsession is really a sign that, you need rest, reassurance, right? Nourishment, and emotional safety, okay? Maybe gentle rhythm, okay? So, and there are many different techniques that you can use in order to kind of stop obsessing, right? Um, but yeah, basically, obsession also puts us into survival mode where, we feel like we have to grind, right? We have to, um, you know we we're basically in a threat energy, right? Like a threat energy, and when we are in a fight or a flight mode or a threat energy, we cannot attract abundance or because abundance, right? Like, let's just say attracting abundance or new opportunities to you, right? When you're in a fight or a flight mode, you cannot even perceive those new opportunities. You might not have the capacity to even notice them because you're so stressed out. So actually, this relates to males and females. Okay, so if you want to if you want to, attract, because males and females can still attract, both sexes have the masculine and the feminine, right? So sometimes we need to attract, right? Sometimes we need to be more in our masculine energy, right? And like grind and work, right? But I would say that grinding doesn't have to be done whenever we're exhausted, right? It can come from also a place of taking like deliberate action, right? So um, you know, doing something when you're inspired to do it, and then letting go and just allowing, right? Instead of grinding and worrying about and obsessing about the outcome, right? And so this is how you attract opportunities, people to. This is how you become really, really magnetic, right? I'm not saying, to just completely let go and allow, right, for things to happen without you doing anything about it, right? You still have to do the work sometimes, and that's also fun if you think about it, right? Like, life wouldn't be fun if we didn't get a chance to create, right? If we just like waited for things to come to us on a silver platter, right? Like, where's the learning in that? Where's the lesson? Where's the growth, right? That would like hinder our growth. That would prevent us from really evolving as human beings, right? And so basically, wealth, right? In order to attract, it has to be the opposite of obsession, right? Because, like I said, when you obsess, you actually signal to yourself that you don't have it. You signal to the universe, right? That you don't have whatever it is that you desire. So if you start obsessing over money, right? And really, really wanting it, right? Or obsessing in relationships, okay, guys? This energy, it's all energy, right? So it's coming from your thoughts, right? Your mind. You're sending the energy out there into the universe that you don't have that thing. And also, people can, believe it or not, if it's a person, right? People can sense this, okay, this obsessive energy, and they're going to be repelled by it, okay? So they're naturally going to be repelled if you're constantly ruminating or thinking about a person. If they're a sensitive person, even if they're not, they're going to be picking up on that too, okay? And that's in a sense going to push them away, and believe it or not, we can also pick up on when another person is thinking of us a lot, because they're going to constantly pop into your mind too. And it's like, and this can be very random, right? Like, for example, you're washing the dishes, you're outside doing something completely different, thinking about something else, and then this person keeps on just popping into your mind, and that's exactly what it is, right? They're getting into your kind of like space, your energetic space, right? Their thoughts, which is energy, it's sent towards you, and so you're picking up on that unconsciously, okay? Then of course it becomes conscious, right? But yeah, so that's why, kind of detachment, right? And like um just meh, like, if it doesn't happen, like, all right, I'm okay with that. If it does happen, cool, right? That's why, it's best to, whenever you do something, like apply for a job, right? And don't obsess, I know maybe it's the best job, right? Or you don't know that, right? Really, you don't know. So, you know, or it's a person that you've just met, right? Maybe they're, they seem like they're everything, but you also don't know that. You haven't gotten to know that person, right? So obsession is also, in a sense, it's ignorance too. It's like um, you think, your mind makes you believe uh, an illusion that you've created around it, whatever that thing is. And so when you do actually get it and get to know it, right? Um, it usually you can get a completely, entirely unpleasant realization or an outcome, So that's why obsessing really is it's not it's not healthy. Not only is it not healthy, right? But um, it once again, you will repel whatever it is that you're obsessing over. It will not come, right? And so you want to just let go and chill, take a chill pill, and relax and uh, let it flow to you. You did the action, right? You applied for an interview. You met a girl or a boy, right, or a guy. You you know you guys had a fun day. Let it go, right? Let's see what happens next. uh, you don't have to see them right away, right? You don't have to I don't know, see them every single day, right? And you don't have to text every second of the day, right? And that reeks of like desperation too, right? It's or checking up on you applied for a job and you're because you're obsessed, and you really want it, right? You start checking up on I don't know, maybe with the hiring manager, right? And just writing them and just annoying everyone. So once again, this reeks of desperation. Nobody likes desperation, desperate energy. People can sense it, right? And same applies to money too. If you want to attract money, then you have to relax, let go, right? And just wait for the right opportunities to come to you, right? And it will. If you're desperate, always trying to chase money, right? You're in the grinding mode. Once again, you guys, you're in a threat energy, right? You're obsessed, and you're in a retraction, or um, you're in a closed off energy, closed off from receiving that money. Okay, if you're grinding, right? And once again, grinding and thinking that you always have to work really, really hard for your money, right? That comes from, you know, um, that comes from mother wounds too, right? Like if you're a woman, and males can have this too, right? Not mother wounds, but yeah, actually mother wounds too. And so yeah, if you guys, just keep this in mind, keep this in mind, and yeah, I hope I helped. And stay tuned for another video. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I also created an audio, okay, and it's a hypnotherapy audio, guys, for busy entrepreneurs who are in this obsessive mode, who feel like their nervous system is always under threat, who cannot relax. Okay, so during my hypnotherapy session, you guys, I help you completely relax your nervous system and help you dive into this beautiful flow state, okay, where you can receive and attract what you have been probably working very hard to get. Okay. Yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching.